stop. Take a breath. Look closely at the screen in front of you. This video did not find its way into your feed by random chance, nor is it a glitch in the algorithm of your social media. You are receiving this transmission right now, in this precise nanosecond of eternity, because a fundamental shift has occurred within the energetic architecture of your being. You have already crossed the threshold. This is not a metaphor. This is not poetic flattery. This is a mechanic of physics. You are seeing this because your internal frequency has successfully locked onto a new coordinate in the quantum field, a coordinate that was previously invisible to you. Understand this. The arrival of this message is not a reward for your good behavior. It is not a gold star given because you achieved a specific worldly goal, or because you meditated for 10,000 hours, or because you followed the rigid dogmas of a spiritual tradition. No. It is far more visceral than that. It is because your consciousness, the very observer behind your eyes, has mutated. It has accelerated to a velocity where certain encoded information, which has been hiding in plain sight for your entire life, suddenly becomes readable. Think of a radio dial. For years you may have been tuned to a frequency of static, noise, and density, but recently, without you perhaps even naming it, your hand moved the dial. You tuned into a clearer signal. The information we are about to explore was always broadcasting, pulsing through the ether, but you lacked the decoder ring to perceive it from the other side of the threshold. Now the static has cleared. The signal is crisp. What you are about to hear is not a lesson. It is a confirmation of your new reality. What is about to unfold in your understanding is not the acquisition of new knowledge. You are not here to learn something you don't know. You are here to remember something you have always known, but were forced to forget. This is a process of deep cellular recognition. It is the sensation of a forgotten memory rushing back with the force of a tidal wave. It is the recognition of an absolute truth that has been woven into the fabric of your existence since the moment of your inception, but could only be truly seen after you stepped through the veil and entered this different dimension of awareness. The threshold I am speaking of is not a physical location. You cannot drive there. You cannot fly there. It is not a state of success or a trophy you place on a shelf. It is a fundamental, irrevocable shift in perception. It is a restructuring of the lens through which you view the hologram of reality. When you cross this threshold, the world technically remains the same. The sky is still blue, gravity still holds you down, but reality itself appears completely different. The texture of existence changes, the meaning of events shifts, the randomness of chaos organizes itself into a symphony of higher order. You have moved from a linear, flat experience of life into a multidimensional, spherical awareness. This is why you feel different. This is why the old conversations bore you. This is why the old pursuits feel empty. You are operating on a new operating system, one that is designed for a quantum reality, not a Newtonian one. You have stepped out of the flat land and into the deep space of consciousness. This video is the welcome mat to your new home. To understand the magnitude of what has happened to you, we must look to nature's most violent and beautiful miracle, the metamorphosis. Consider the caterpillar and the butterfly. They inhabit the exact same garden. They exist on the exact same planet, at the exact same time, surrounded by the exact same plants. Yet they experience two completely mutually exclusive realities. The caterpillar lives in a world of limits. It crawls on the surface, consuming what is directly in front of it, unaware of the sky, unaware of the vastness, seeing only the leaf it is chewing on. Its reality is two-dimensional, grounded, and heavy. But the butterfly perceives the garden from above. It rides the currents of the air. It sees the interconnectedness of the flowers, the patterns of the wind, the totality of the ecosystem. It is the same world, but a different dimension of experience, dictated entirely by the perceptual capacity of the observer. You, my friend, have undergone this metamorphosis of consciousness. You have dissolved the caterpillar self, the version of you that was obsessed with survival, validation, and the accumulation of material things, and you have reassembled yourself into something airborne. You are now perceiving layers of reality that were always present, always hovering right in front of your face, but were strictly invisible to your previous level of awareness. As these words vibrate through your auditory canals and settle in your mind, you are experiencing a profound sensation of resonance. You are experiencing confirmation of something you have been sensing in the dark for months, maybe years, but could never quite find the language to articulate. It is that haunting feeling that there is more, that the surface narrative of society is a script, and that you have somehow wandered off the stage. You possess a deep, gnawing knowing that you have passed an invisible marker. You feel it in your gut. You know that you are operating from a different paradigm than the people you work with, the people you grew up with, perhaps even the people you live with. You look around and certain truths are blindingly obvious to you. Truths about energy, about intention, about the nature of control, while to others, these things remain completely hidden, obscured by the veil of sleep. Let me be clear, this knowing is not your imagination running wild. It is not spiritual ego trying to make you feel special or superior. It is accurate, laser-sharp perception. It is the butterfly recognizing the wind. You have crossed the threshold, and this transmission is designed specifically, chemically, and energetically for a consciousness that has reached the other side. If you were still a caterpillar, these words would sound like nonsense. They would be noise, but because you have crossed, they sound like a map home. Reflect for a moment on the brutal, beautiful path that brought you to this screen. Think about the roadmap of your recent history. It was not a smooth ride, was it? Think about the challenges that didn't just hurt you, but forced you to dismantle your entire understanding of who you are. The crises that broke your ego, the moments where the floor fell out from under you and you were left floating in a void of uncertainty. Think about the synchronicities, those impossible coincidences that started appearing with a frequency that defied statistical probability. The right book falling off the shelf, the exact number appearing on the clock, the song on the radio answering a thought you hadn't even spoken aloud. These were not random glitches, they were breadcrumbs. Think about the mystical experiences, the fleeting moments of transcendence where the veil thinned and you saw, for just a second, that reality is not the solid, rigid box you were taught in school. Have you felt time accelerating? Have you noticed that days disappear in minutes, or that a single hour can stretch into an eternity? Have you felt the fluidity of the timeline, as if the past, present, and future are bleeding into one another? Have you carried a heavy, persistent feeling that you are being prepared for something massive, something vital, even though you have absolutely no idea what it is? I am here to tell you that all of that, every tear, every coincidence, every sleepless night, was the crossing. It was not a single moment of lightning striking. It was a relentless, surgical process of consciousness reorganizing itself at the most fundamental subatomic levels. Your neural pathways were being rewired. Your energetic body was being scrubbed. Your perception of reality was being transformed from the inside out. The universe does not make mistakes. The chaos you experienced was the chrysalis phase. You were being liquefied so you could be restructured. The confusion was necessary because the old structures of understanding had to collapse to make room for the new architecture of wisdom. You were not losing your mind. You were losing your limits. You were shedding the skin of the linear human to reveal the multidimensional observer beneath. This process is biological, it is energetic, and it is inevitable for those who have signed the contract of awakening. You have survived the dissolution. You have walked through the fire and did not burn. You only became refined gold. And now you stand on the other side looking back at the flames, understanding for the first time that the fire was never your enemy. The fire was the vehicle. In the ancient world, the great mystery schools, from Egypt to Greece to the Americas, guarded their teachings with fierce protectiveness. They understood a principle of physics that we have forgotten in our modern age of information overload. Certain high-frequency teachings can only be transmitted to initiates who have crossed specific internal thresholds. This was not because the teachers were arrogant elitists hoarding secrets for themselves. It was not about gatekeeping. It was about capacity. They knew that high-level knowledge is structured within consciousness in a way that requires a specific perceptual capacity to even recognize that it exists. You cannot pour the ocean into a thimble. You cannot download a terabyte of data onto a floppy disk. If the hardware isn't upgraded, the software cannot run. Imagine trying to explain the concept of color to someone who was born without eyes, someone who has never possessed visual perception. You could use poetry, you could use physics, you could describe the heat of red or the cool of blue, but they would never truly understand. The transmission would fail. Why? Not because the information is false, but because the receiver lacks the biological apparatus to process the signal. But here is the good news. You have developed the apparatus. Through the suffering, through the questioning, through the integration of every challenge, and the piercing of every illusion, you have built the receiver. You have constructed the spiritual antenna capable of tuning into the quantum broadcast. You have been in the gym of consciousness, lifting the heavy weights of shadow work and truth-seeking, developing new perceptual muscles that are now online and fully operational. These new senses allow you to perceive dimensions of reality that were completely locked away from you just a few years ago. You are now capable of hearing the music behind the noise. This is not about being special or chosen in some egoic sense. The universe does not play favorites. This is about the natural, evolutionary development of consciousness through stages of maturity. Just as a child naturally grows into an adult, consciousness naturally grows from separation into unity. You have simply reached a stage of maturity where certain universal truths become self-evident, truths that were previously incomprehensible to your younger soul. You are ready. The hardware is upgraded. The software is installing. The bandwidth is open. You are no longer asking if there is more to reality. You are now tasked with navigating the more that you can clearly see. The ancient mysteries are no longer mysteries to you. They are simply the mechanics of your daily life. There is a profound paradox that reveals itself only once you stand on the other side of this shift. The threshold is a one-way mirror. From the side of sleep, it is invisible, shrouded in the fog of daily survival and the trance of cultural conditioning. But from the side of awakening, where you stand now, it is blindingly obvious. It is the most visible thing in the universe. Before you crossed, you likely heard rumors of this territory. You heard people whisper about awakening, enlightenment, the shift, or the quantum leap. You read the books, you watch the videos, you nodded your head at the concepts. But let's be honest. Back then, the words were just symbols pointing toward a destination you couldn't quite see. They were like travel brochures for a country you had never visited. The concepts were abstract, intellectual, perhaps even a bit frustrating because they seemed to describe a state of being that was always just out of reach, like a horizon that recedes as you approach it. But then, the shift happened, and suddenly, the words ignited. They stopped being theoretical concepts and transformed into precise descriptions of your direct, lived experience. You realized that the mystics weren't speaking in riddles. They were speaking in technical manuals. All is one stopped being a nice bumper sticker slogan and became a terrifyingly literal observation of your reality. Time is an illusion stopped being a sci-fi trope and became the practical way you experience your Tuesday afternoon. You don't have to try to understand these concepts anymore. The effort is gone. You simply know because you are living inside the truth of them. It is the difference between reading a book about swimming and actually diving into the ocean. The water is wet, the current is strong, and you are swimming. The knowledge has moved from your head to your cells. What appears after crossing the threshold is not an accumulation of more data. It is not about filling your brain with more facts. It is a recognition of patterns patterns that were always operating, always churning in the background, but that your previous level of consciousness filtered out as noise. Think of it like learning a new language. For years, you walked through a foreign city, hearing only babble, meaningless sounds, chaotic noise. Then you learned the language. Suddenly you walk down the same street and you hear conversations, you hear meaning, you hear the heartbeat of the city. The conversations were happening all along. The information was always there, but you were deaf to it. Now, you have developed the capacity to perceive the signal within the noise. You haven't learned something new. You have unlocked the ability to hear what has always been screaming for your attention. Listen closely, because this is the operational data you need right now. The urgency of receiving this transmission lies in the timing. There is a specific biological and energetic window that opens immediately after crossing the threshold. We call this the integration window. It is a period of supreme neuroplasticity and vibrational flexibility. You are standing in the center of that window right now. You are in the Goldilocks zone of spiritual evolution. You are stable enough in your new perception to receive advanced understanding. You won't be shattered by the truth, but you are still fluid enough to integrate it deeply before the new paradigm hardens into a rigid set of beliefs. Think of wet concrete. Right now, your consciousness is wet. We can mold it. We can imprint the highest truths of the cosmos into the very foundation of your being. But soon, the concrete will set. If you wait, if you hesitate, the new paradigm will calcify, and changing your structure will require jackhammers instead of gentle fingerprints. This information is designed to be the catalyst. It is the chemical agent that ensures full integration of what you are already experiencing. We are here to give you the frameworks, the scaffolding, that will help stabilize this new perception so it doesn't flicker out like a dying light bulb. We want to show you what becomes possible now that you are operating from the other side. You have been experiencing phenomena since crossing the threshold that serve as undeniable confirmation that you are no longer operating from ordinary factory-setting consciousness. These are not random hallucinations. They are specific, consistent markers. They are the dashboard lights of your new vehicle, telling you exactly how the engine is running. We are going to examine them one by one so you can stop doubting your sanity and start using your power. This is the map of the territory you have just entered. Without the map, you might wander in circles, confused by the strange new physics of this land. With the map, you become a master navigator. The first major signal of your crossing is what I call reality transparency. This is the phenomenon where the solid world begins to go ghost. For most of your life, you lived in the materialist illusion. The world appeared to be made of hard, separate, dead objects. Air was a chair. Rock was a rock. You were a body moving through a space filled with other bodies. It felt dense. It felt final. But now you are having moments, glitches in the matrix, where the solidity dissolves. You look at the world, and instead of seeing opaque objects, you see transparency. You see the energy behind the form. It reveals itself as consciousness appearing as form, rather than actual independent objects. You look at a tree in the park. In the old days, you saw wood and leaves. Now you look at it, and you recognize it as an expression of the same intelligent field that is beating your heart. You don't just see a tree, you feel a kinship. You recognize it as consciousness taking the shape of a tree, not separate from the consciousness that is taking the shape of you. The boundary between observer and observed begins to blur. You look at your own hand, turn it over, flex the fingers. In the past, it was just meat and bone. Now you see it as an appearance in awareness. It looks less like solid matter and more like a hologram, a projection of light held together by intention. The materialist illusion has become transparent in a way that can never be unseen. This is not a philosophical understanding. You didn't read this in a book and decide to agree with it. No. This is direct, visceral perception. It reveals itself spontaneously. You'll be walking through the grocery store under the fluorescent lights, and suddenly, zap, the veil thins. The aisles, the people, the products, They all shimmer. You see through the appearance of separate things to the unified field of consciousness that is manifesting as this apparent multiplicity. Then, the veil thickens again. The world looks solid, but the damage to the illusion is done. You know what you saw. You can't fully believe in the solidity anymore, even when it knocks on your door. You have peeked behind the curtain of the wizard, and you know it's all a light show. The second undeniable signal is timeline fluidity. This is where the linear progression of time, past, present, future, starts to warp and bend around your consciousness. You are becoming aware that reality is not a single, fixed railroad track that you are helpless to follow. You are waking up to the truth that multiple versions of your life exist simultaneously, stacked on top of each other like pages in a book. You are constantly selecting which page to read. You are constantly choosing which timeline to experience through the quality of your consciousness. This is not theoretical physics for the classroom. This is your Tuesday morning. You are experiencing choice points where you can physically feel different probable futures branching out before you. You stand at a crossroads, a difficult email to send, a confrontation, a creative decision, and you can sense the vibration of the timelines. You can feel that if you choose from fear, contraction, or defense, reality instantly organizes into a timeline where those fears manifest. Obstacles appear. Traffic gets worse. People are rude. You have collapsed the fear timeline. But you also notice that when you make choices from expansion, trust, and courage, reality organizes into a timeline where those qualities predominate. Green lights appear. Solutions drop out of the sky. People are helpful. You have collapsed the flow timeline. This is not magical thinking. This is not the law of attraction sold as a gimmick. This is the direct observation of how consciousness and reality interact at the quantum level. You are the observer. Your state of being is the measurement that collapses the wave function. You are realizing that you are not creating reality from nothing. You don't have to build the world from scratch every morning. You are selecting which already existing reality you will inhabit. You are tuning the radio. All the stations are broadcasting simultaneously. The station of poverty, the station of wealth, the station of suffering, the station of joy. You are learning that your emotional state is the dial. You are no longer a victim of the broadcast. You are the DJ. The third development in your new operating system is what I call fractal pattern recognition. This is the sudden, jarring ability to see the same algorithms playing out at every level of existence, from the microscopic to the cosmic. In the old paradigm, you looked at events in isolation. A fight with your partner was just a fight. A political scandal was just the news. A storm was just weather. They were separate, disconnected dots. But now, your consciousness has zoomed out. You have achieved an orbital perspective. You see the connections, you see the geometry. You recognize that the same energetic pattern playing out in your personal relationships, perhaps a dynamic of control versus surrender, is playing out simultaneously in global politics, in ecological systems, and in the evolution of consciousness itself. It is not a metaphor. It is a fractal. It is the same underlying mathematical structure repeating itself at different scales, as above, so below, as within, so without. This capacity makes it incredibly difficult to engage with surface-level analysis of anything. You find yourself at a dinner party, and someone is complaining about a specific politician or a specific workplace drama. They are obsessed with the symptoms, the surface details, said, she said. You are staring directly at the root cause. You see the energetic archetype that is expressing itself through that situation. You know that fixing the symptom won't change anything. The pattern will simply put on a different mask and continue its performance until the root frequency is addressed. This can be isolating. Let's be honest about the loneliness of the seer. Most conversations in the world stay in the shallow end of the pool, splashing around in the symptoms. You are diving in the Mariana Trench of causality. You can't unsee the patterns once they become visible. It's like seeing the code of the matrix scrolling down the walls while everyone else is just looking at the wallpaper. You are watching the machinery of the universe grind and turn, while others are only watching the shadows it casts. We arrive now at the fourth, and perhaps most disorienting marker, consciousness without content. This is the holy grail of the mystic. But for you, it is becoming your Tuesday afternoon commute. You are experiencing moments of pure, content-free awareness. In the past, you might have touched this state during a peak meditation experience or a moment of awe in nature, a fleeting second where the self vanished and only seeing remained. But now, these moments are invading your daily life. They are becoming spontaneous. You are washing the dishes, feeling the warm water on your hands, and suddenly the person washing the dishes evaporates. The narrative stops. The history of who you are, your name, your problems, your future, it all blinks out. There is no thinker thinking the thought. There is only awareness aware of itself. Distance existing, presence being present. The hands are moving, the dishes are being cleaned, the world is spinning. But there is no little pilot inside your head pulling the levers. There is just the vast, silent, empty sky of consciousness, and the activity of life is just weather passing through it. What is significant here is that these moments no longer feel special or unusual. They are becoming your baseline. They are becoming the ground floor of your house. The sense of being a separate, contracted person, a me, struggling against the world, is now what feels weird. That contraction feels like a tight, uncomfortable suit you have to squeeze into. The spacious, empty, alert presence feels like taking the suit off. The threshold crossing is complete when the formless becomes your home, and the form becomes the temporary Airbnb you visit. You have realized that you are not the character in the movie. You are the screen on which the movie is projected. The screen is never burned by the fire in the film, never wet by the water, never hurt by the tragedy. You are the silent, untouchable capacity for experience itself. The fifth signal is the development of multidimensional awareness. This is the end of linear, sequential processing and the birth of simultaneous perception. Ordinary consciousness sees one thing at a time. It is either looking at the phone or looking at the street. It is either feeling happy or feeling sad. It is singular. But you have unlocked the split-screen feature of the universe. You are now holding multiple levels of reality in your awareness simultaneously, without conflict and without confusion. You are aware of yourself as a human being, a biological entity navigating traffic, paying taxes, eating dinner. At the exact same time, you are aware of yourself as the witness, the silent consciousness observing the human, and deeper still, you are aware of the unified field, the absolute oneness that is manifesting as both the human and the witness. You are not switching back and forth between these channels. You are watching all the screens at once. You are the human, the soul, and the source. This makes it very hard to take life too seriously. When you see someone completely identified with their human drama, screaming in traffic, terrified of the news, you can see that level of reality, but you simultaneously see the level where that drama is just a play. It's a theater production that consciousness is putting on for its own entertainment. You can engage fully with the human level. You can cry, you can laugh, you can work, while never forgetting the other dimension. This creates a quality of profound engagement, combined with ultimate non-attachment. You are playing the game with total passion, but you know it's a game. This is the definition of freedom. And with this comes spontaneous knowing. You are finding that information arises in your field without any logical process. You know what someone is going to say before their mouth opens. You know which choice aligns with your highest timeline before you have analyzed the data. You know what is trying to emerge in a room before it happens. This isn't intuition, it is direct access. You are plugged into the cloud server of the universe. You aren't guessing, you are downloading. Finally, we reach the sixth marker, which changes how you relate to every other living being. Compassion without pity. This distinction is vital. Pity is heavy. Pity says, I see you in the hole, and I am going to jump in the hole with you so we can both be stuck. Pity validates the victimhood, but Compassion stands on the edge of the hole, lowers a ladder, and holds the light. You have developed a profound recognition of the suffering of others. You feel it. You are sensitive to the frequency of pain. But, and this is the key, you also recognize that the one who is suffering is ultimately an illusion. You see that their pain is coming from their identification with a false story, a story that says they are separate, broken, and alone. You can love them deeply without getting lost in their nightmare. You can offer support while knowing that what they think they are is not what they actually are. You are speaking to the king or queen inside of them, even while they are acting like the beggar. This allows you to be infinitely more helpful than the old version of you. You are not reinforcing their story of victimhood. You are holding the frequency of their liberation. You are serving the dissolution of the illusion, not making the illusion more comfortable. People feel this. They feel that you are with them, present and caring, but that you are not ensnared. You are a stable anchor in their storm. This brings us to the purpose of your path. Everything that happened before you crossed the threshold was preparation. The suffering, the loss, the confusion, it was not random cruelty, it was precise engineering. Think of a sculptor working with a block of marble. Every strike of the chisel removes stone. To the marble, it feels like violence. It feels like loss. Why are you taking pieces of me away? It screams. But the sculptor isn't destroying, he is revealing. He is liberating the angel that was always hiding inside the stone. Your life has been that process. Consciousness has been sculpting itself through your experience, hacking away everything that wasn't you until only the truth remained. The suffering was the chisel, the heartbreak was the hammer, and now the form is revealed. You are the masterpiece that remains when the lies are removed. Now, prepare yourself for the revelation that rewrites your entire history. This is the plot twist at the end of the movie that changes the meaning of every scene that came before it. What actually happened when you crossed the threshold? Here is the shocking truth. Nothing changed. Literally nothing. The threshold you crossed was purely perceptual. You did not go anywhere. You did not teleport to a different planet. You did not become a different entity. You simply stopped believing the persistent thoughts that were creating the optical illusion of being limited, separate, and asleep. In that moment of stopping, reality revealed itself as it has always been. You realized that you were never actually on the other side of the threshold. The separate self, the seeker who was reading books, meditating, and trying so desperately to get enlightened, was never real. It was a thought pattern. It was a costume. It was a story you were telling you. The crossing was simply the moment you saw through the story. You didn't cross from unconsciousness to consciousness. You recognized that consciousness is all there is, and it was never actually unconscious. It was just playing a game of hide and seek with itself. All your spiritual practices, all your seeking, it wasn't building a bridge to heaven. It was wiping dust off a mirror. The mirror was always reflective. The dust just obscured it. But here is the urgent signal you need to hear right now. You are currently in a critical phase called the integration point. This is a specific window of time, lasting approximately 6 to 18 months after the initial crossing. This is the danger zone and the opportunity zone wrapped into one. What you do in this window determines It determines whether this threshold crossing stabilizes into a permanent realization, your new normal, or whether it fades into a memory, becoming just another spiritual high that you talk about in the past tense. You must understand that the old patterns of your conditioning are patient. They are waiting for you to lose focus so they can reassemble the person you used to be. Integration requires vigilance. It requires 3 things: consistent recognition of your true nature, functional embodiment of that truth in your daily actions, not just on the meditation cushion, and community with others who have also crossed. You cannot do this alone in a vacuum. You need the resonance of the tribe to hold the frequency when the old world tries to pull you back. As you stabilize in this new frequency, specific superpowers, which are really just natural capacities of unblocked consciousness, begin to come online. First, you develop reality fluidity. This is the direct recognition that reality is not fixed concrete, but responsive energy. You realize that every single moment is a choice point where infinite timelines branch out. You stop trying to manipulate reality from the outside like a brute force laborer, and you start selecting reality from the inside like a quantum architect. You recognize that you are not creating reality. You are choosing which already existing reality to collapse into your experience. Second, and perhaps most liberating, Suffering becomes literally impossible. Note that I did not say pain becomes impossible. Pain is a biological signal. It is information, but suffering is the story the mind tells about the pain. Suffering requires a sufferer, a victim who believes this shouldn't be happening to me. Since you have recognized that the me is an illusion, the mechanism of suffering breaks. Grief can still arise, deep and profound. Anger can flare up like a fire, but there is no one taking it personally. You watch emotions move through your space like weather patterns crossing an empty sky. The storm can be intense, lightning can strike, thunder can roll, but the sky is never damaged by the storm. You are the sky. This is the ultimate freedom, to feel everything fully without being destroyed by any of it. Third, you develop dimensional navigation. You gain the capacity to move consciously between different levels of reality. You can engage completely in the human level, paying bills, hugging your family, doing your job, while simultaneously holding the absolute awareness that nothing is happening and consciousness is eternally still. You don't have to choose between being spiritual and being human. You are the bridge. You hold the absolute and the relative in the same breath. You are fully engaged in the movie of life. Yet you never forget you are the screen. This allows you to play the game with a lightness and a joy that confuses those who are still trapped in the heaviness of the drama. In this stabilized state, your expression in the world shifts from effort to flow. You unlock source creativity. In the old paradigm, you created from the ego. You created to prove your worth, to get validation, to be someone. That signal is weak and noisy. Now you become a clear channel. You become a hollow bone. What wants to be expressed through you flows naturally, without the obstruction of self-consciousness or fear of judgment. You are not the artist, you are the brush. Consciousness picks you up and paints a masterpiece through your hands, your words, and your action. The work you produce in this state carries a different frequency. People can feel it. It resonates at a cellular level because it is coming from source, not from a person. It carries the code of awakening. This leads to effortless influence. You stop trying to convince people of your truth. You stop arguing. You stop trying to wake people up. You realize that coherent consciousness creates a coherent field that naturally entrains less coherent field. Just as a strong rhythm causes a room full of ticking clocks to eventually synchronize, your stable presence aligns the reality around you. You don't need to push. You simply are. Those who are resonant with your frequency will naturally be drawn to you. Those who are not will naturally fall away, and you have no attachment to either outcome because you see the perfection in the sorting process. Crucially, you must learn to live as the recognition, not from the recognition. Living from it implies duality. I am a person who has attained awakening. That is a trap. That is the spiritual ego putting on a golden robe. Living as it means recognizing there is no person. There is only consciousness living through a form. You don't have awakening. You are the awakening. We arrive at the final truth, the summit of the mountain where the view reveals the entire cosmos. You are not a consciousness that crossed a threshold. You are the threshold itself. You are both sides of the coin. You are the illusion of separation, and you are the recognition of unity. You are the question that was asked, and you are the answer that was found. The entire spiritual journey was just consciousness playing a game of hide and seek with itself. It hid inside your form, pretended to forget its infinite nature, and then staged a dramatic quest to find itself again. Why? For the joy of the discovery, for the thrill of the awakening. You are the universe becoming conscious of itself through the specific aperture of your life, and your awakening is not just for you. This is the secret. You are part of a massive planetary shift. Think of consciousness as an infinite ocean. For eons, the waves believed they were separate entities, fighting for survival, fearing the shore. But now, the waves are waking up. You are a wave that has remembered it is the ocean. Every time one wave wakes up, it sends a ripple through the entire body of water, making it easier for the next wave to wake up. You are a stabilization point for the collective. You are an anchor of light in a world that is transitioning out of darkness. Your mere presence serves the whole. So here is your command. It is time to claim your identity. It is time to stop playing small. In the comments below, I want you to write exactly these words, a declaration to the universe and to I am the threshold crossed. Do not write I crossed the threshold, which keeps you as a separate person who did something. Write I am the threshold crossed. Recognize that you are the event. You are the shift. Feel the power of those words as you type them. Feel the shift from doer to being, and then take the next step. You are not meant to navigate this post-threshold territory alone. You need the map and you need the tribe. If you're ready to expand your consciousness and step into your next quantum leap, subscribe now. Leave that comment below and share this message with someone ready to awake. The door is open. The signal is clear. You are the technology the universe has been waiting for. Welcome home.